Alright, this one's going to be difficult for a lot of the Moon Boys to watch, but that's exactly why we're here, ladies and gents. I am seeing some phenomenal opportunities to scrape some beautiful gains up in this market right now, ladies and gents. Why do I say scrape? We're going to shovel these fucking gains up, because there's going to be a lot of it. And what we're dealing with right now, ladies and gents, is a continuation of the downtrend for Bitcoin. We found resistance basically everywhere we possibly could, including at this particular area, which is very important. We did overshoot it a little bit, but naturally what's ended up happening is we've just fell straight through that range, which is exactly what we've expected. And we're now finding support at, honestly, a very light area of support. I don't think this is going to hold. I think Bitcoin's probably going to collapse below this area. And I want to talk to you about exactly what we're dealing with right now. You know, a lot of the time there's bullish arguments you can make, there's bearish arguments you can make, you kind of reach at an equilibrium. Right now, I'm struggling to see those bullish arguments. Like always, I'm going to tell you what I see for the bullish side, I'm going to tell you what I see for the bearish side, and of course my own opinion. I'm not here to convince you of anything, but what you'll see, and what we always do, and what we root these videos in, is that we're just kind of outlining the facts. We're just getting the facts out there, we're understanding what they mean, we are translating them so that they all make sense to us, and that's our aim of the game right now. And they don't paint an amazing image. So to me, that's great. You know, as a trader, that's what you want to see. There's some phenomenal opportunities, and I want to take advantage of them. Obviously, we've got some huge bonuses available with the links in the description below. You've got Bybit right here giving you up to $30,000 in completely free trading capital, which is absolutely sick. And I just want to show you this new link we've got right here as well for 2bit, which is another no KYC exchange, giving you up to $9,000 in bonuses. BingX also the same thing. So very, very cool offers available. You get a free $500 Bitcoin position when you sign up to Bybit using my link down below. So check them all out, ladies and gents. There's some phenomenal offers available down below for you to get. Just more free trading capital that you can deploy into the market, and any profits you generate are yours to keep. So that is super, super cool. What I think we're seeing here now is this final kind of area of support before our key area at 60, 61 getting tested, right? And like I said, I don't think this is going to be the strongest area of support. I did expect maybe something small to happen, but you know, this is about it. I'm not expecting it to support the price much more. If we do end up getting a bounce up, then you know, it's just continuing to get resistance, right? Because what we have done now, and there's no ambiguity about this, there's no room for interpretation on this. We have been setting just a series of lower highs. Okay, that's very, very clear, right? So if we come back up here now, get another lower high, these are not good things, right? I mean, this is how you know that we are in some sort of a kind of short-term downtrend right now. But this is good because, like I said, this is actually what kind of opens up the playing field for more upside later on, right? We don't want to rise up in a straight line because that's just not how these things work. Things go very badly if you kind of operate like that. So that's not what we're aiming for here, but what we are very interested in is you know, what does it look like for the healthiest possible route for this market, and how can we take advantage of that? Now let me bring this chart over to a couple things that are outside of crypto, specifically traditional finance, to make a couple of points for you guys. Now before we actually get there, I want to show you the dollar, and those of you that have been subscribed to this channel for a while, you're going to know very well that Bitcoin and the dollar have an interesting relationship, right? And it's generally, there are exceptions, and that's why it's interesting, but there are generally, you know, there's generally going to be a very clear inverse correlation, okay? And an inverse correlation means if one goes up, the other goes down, okay? If one goes down, the other goes up. That's what an inverse correlation is. And what we can see here is the dollar has managed to rise up quite well up into this 104 range. And if I just go ahead and draw a box basically right where we are now, more or less, it's the same box that this red line aims to represent. This is a block of resistance for the dollar, right? So that's great. You know, this could imply that the dollar is going to stop moving up from here. You know, it might not though, and the dollar hasn't actually quite gotten up to its key areas yet either. You know, here's another block of resistance, which you could say is equally, if not more important for the dollar, and it's above 104. It's at 105.6 roughly, right? So there's some more upside to go for the dollar, and the reason that's important is because if we take a look at this last 10 days of trading for the dollar, starting the 12th of March, basically up to today, we've got a very clear 1.6% move up. okay? Just a very clear 1.6% move up. Over here, across the same time frame, we've got a very clear 15-16% drop down. Now that's really interesting, because what that's telling us is the inverse correlation that we know exists is correct. We know it's correct. It's in front of us right now. Some people try and debate this. I don't get it. It's right in front of you. You can't deny it. But another thing that we're seeing quite clearly, and this is also what we expect, is that the dollar moves up by a little bit, Bitcoin drops down by a lot. And in this case, the factor is about 10x, okay? Bitcoin is moving 10 times stronger in the opposite direction of the dollar, which is really interesting, because if the dollar gets up to that next area of resistance that I was telling you guys about, then that's another 1.4% up. From the current price, that is another it's actually slightly higher now, but it's another 1.4% up, okay, for the dollar. Which is, again, it's not the biggest move ever for the dollar, but if Bitcoin is doing the opposite, 10 times stronger, well then, that potentially puts Bitcoin down into that kind of $52,000 range, right? Here is, and I don't know if you can see this because my face cam might be covering it, but here is a 17% drop right here on the chart down to that crucial $52,000 level. So it's a little bit more than what the dollar would potentially do. But what's interesting and important to take note of, rather than, you know, looking for exact matches and stuff like that, because that's just not how the real world works, what we're interested in is, are we starting to see things lining up? Are we starting to see things tie up? Again, like I said at the very beginning of this video, I'm not here to convince you one way or another, but what I am here to do is lay the facts out, okay? And the facts are that the dollar tends to have an inverse correlation with Bitcoin on balance overall, and in this case, Bitcoin moves 10 times stronger than the dollar. So if the dollar is actually going up to its next area of resistance, and by the way, we're going to tie this into the S&P 500 as well, because the S&P 500 does look like it needs to pull back as well. If we take a look at the trading for the S&P today, you know, I mean, just over the last, you know, over the course of this week, really, last couple of days, it's been you know, it's been a bit of a drop actually. This week, generally speaking, has been quite bullish, but we have seen a bit of a pullback now coming into this Friday trading session, which, by the way, you know, this session's going to be over soon, so by the time you watch this video, but we bring it back to this chart right here, and the reason that this stuff is important to me, and I like kind of discussing these ideas with you, is because you know, the setup is already there in a longer term perspective for Bitcoin to drop down, right? And you wouldn't be watching this channel if you disagreed with that, because you'd probably be a bit of a snowflake, probably, you know, an XRP holder. You know, you'd fall into various categories of degenerate trader, and you just wouldn't have been able to survive on this channel. I would have hurt your feelings a long time ago. So now it's just you and I, right? Like, we're just the sensible guys that are actually here to make money, or the girls, whatever, that are here to make money. You know, and we understand that the real world works in ways that are less than ideal and stuff like that. But we also understand that, you know, certain things in the market, especially drops in situations like this, are going to look really obvious in hindsight. That doesn't mean they need to happen. But what's really interesting is if you can see what that crystal clear hindsight picture looks like before it actually happens, then congratulations, you're a trader. That's what we're aiming to do. You know, and to me, this looks like one of those very plausible situations. There is a plausible rise up for the dollar, there's a plausible correction for the S&P 500, and there is a much more than plausible drop for Bitcoin. It goes further than this, by the way. The S&P 500 right now, if we measure its current price up to its all-time high, is about 0.4% away from its all-time high, okay? And it set the all-time high yesterday. So the S&P 500 is very much in a bullish stance right now, you know, overall. Bitcoin, on the other hand, if we zoom out and measure Bitcoin's distance, current price up to all-time high, is 15% away. So Bitcoin is a hell of a lot weaker compared to the S&P 500 in terms of rallying up. You know, and one of the things we need to understand is that, well, if Bitcoin has an inverse correlation with the dollar, it has a positive correlation with the S&P 500. And that's generally pretty clear as well. Generally speaking, we can, you know, we can just draw a nice little line right here. Like, this is October, you know, beginning of November 23. You know, so basically just rewind like 5 months or whatever. And if we take a look at what was happening back then, beginning of November 23, where were we? I can't even fit it on the chart. Beginning of November, right here. Right, so I mean, it's very, very clear. This is the beginning of November for Bitcoin. You saw the beginning of November for the S&P 500. Let me just bring this up side by side. This is actually really useful, analysis, in my opinion, because it helps put everything into perspective, and that's going to make it way more likely that you make money and keep money. So to me, that's really, really important. But yeah, here's November, and you can just see very clearly, right? I mean, this is the S&P 500 rallying up, and Bitcoin's doing the same thing at the same time. I mean, it's very, very clear. There are exceptions, and we're not worried about those exceptions because they don't disprove the rule, but definitely a useful kind of bit of analysis to be carrying out, and I think that it's something that could tell us a little bit about where this market might be going. I've got a lot more that I want to cover with you guys in this video. I also want to go over altcoins with you as well, so bear with me while I bring myself up on that stuff. But right now, let's keep talking about Bitcoin before we do change that subject, and let's take a look at some of our key indicators. On the 4-hour time frame, we've got continued resistance expanding up in the $66,000 price range. Again, it's the same thing I said at the very beginning. If Bitcoin moves up, I'm probably expecting resistance right here. We could end up doing something pretty cool, maybe bouncing up a little bit higher, getting rejected a little bit lower, and then we end up forming, a bit of a triangle. But that's still a bearish triangle because we've done it in a bearish market, right? In a bearish short-term trend. So, I don't see any bullish outlook here. It's like I've said in my previous video, where if you've been subscribed, you're going to know this quite well. I do think that if we're able to reclaim levels like $69,000 levels, then we're back in, right? Then we're back in the game. Until and unless that happens, we are in a bit of a downtrend right now, and that's just how I feel about this market. Let's take a look at this with the Ichimoku cloud. We've got a red cloud. It's expanding right now. It's going to continue to expand, and it's providing more resistance in the same price range, $66,000. This is becoming a bit of a problematic area. I don't think the 66K level is the strongest area of resistance ever for Bitcoin, not even close, but it's getting stronger. The 66K area is getting stronger as resistance, and that's something we've got to keep an eye on. That means the easiest time to break 66K is right now. And every moment moving forward for the next days and weeks, it's probably going to get harder for Bitcoin to break that 66K area. That's what I'm saying. Going to progressively get harder. Now, if we take a look at this on a more zoomed out perspective and see what we're looking at here, we still haven't hit our daily Ichimoku cloud of support. The last time we found support here was 2 months ago, almost exactly, toward the end of January. We're very much due for another correction down into this kind of price range, into this kind of indicator. I don't like the way the indicator looks right now, but if we drop in a straight line, we are going to end up in the 52K range. So that's absolutely fantastic. Obviously, there's a weekly Ichimoku too, which we never really talk about. I don't really think these are important, but support for this indicator is way lower. In October, it's going to be at 48. Don't be surprised if we're at price levels like that in October, ladies and gents. Don't let this market do that to you. This market can pull off shit like that, and I wouldn't want you to be taken by surprise by that kind of thing. If we move on to some of our momentum-based indicators on a shorter time frame like the daily, phenomenal support. This is the only strong sign that I see for this market in terms of potentially moving up. This is the only strong sign I see. Like, it's the best indicator that's providing support to Bitcoin that I'm seeing right now. And it's good. It stretches all the way down to 58, so I like what I'm seeing there. It's not enough for me to feel bullish, but I mean, it's a good one. It's a good sign. I'm just gonna have to leave it there. There's not much else I can say. And there's also the head and shoulders pattern. A few of you guys have been talking about this in the comment section. It's an idea that I brought up before. I don't really care for or look for head and shoulders patterns personally, and the reason I don't do that is because I don't know. I just feel like it's like handicapped analysis, that's the only way I can put it. Like, it's the analysis that you're going to carry out if you're not good at doing analysis, and that doesn't mean it's bad. There is some merit to the head and shoulders patterns and stuff like that, but generally speaking, it's not something I'm interested in. What I am interested in is the characteristic that the head and shoulders pattern presents. And it's a characteristic that we've already been very, very aware of on this YouTube channel because I've been talking about it with you guys here. And what it represents is that we set a high up here. We broke the high, but we couldn't hold that level, and we came back down, and then we set the same high again. What that implies is originally we didn't have enough strength. Then we had enough strength, but we lost it, and this was the result. The most important step is to get down to this neckline and break below it, and then get your back test. This is the short entry. If you're trading head and shoulders patterns and you're trading it conventionally and normally, that's what you're going to do. You're going to be looking for the break of this neckline and then the retest to enter shorts. That's what I think a lot of traders are going to be looking at in this particular situation. Is it something I would trade? Not necessarily. Is it something I like the look of? Fuck yeah, I do like the look of it. Especially if, for example, I had a ton of free cash that I could deploy into the market. In some of these cases, without even fucking making a deposit, just literally a $50 trading bonus for opening a futures account on CoinW, no KYC on 2bit, up to 9K in bonuses. There is a lot up for grabs right here, with very little work on your side, literally just clicking a few buttons, and you're going to get free cash deposited into your account. For those kind of things, if I can't take these offers, unfortunately, but if I had these kind of offers available to me, I'd be super keen on, and the reason I can't take them is because I'm actually promoting them. I'm not allowed to. It's just, it kind of sucks. But anyway, maybe I can speak to them and we can sort something out. But yeah, that to me would kind of make it a lot better. Obviously, you got to keep in mind with all of these exchanges, certain regulations in certain countries are going to forbid you from using these platforms, and you can't get around them, right? You can't, there's going to be KYC, VPNs won't be allowed, and so on and so forth. It's just not going to be doable. So don't even try it. But if you are in a country where it's legal, just check, with a lawyer or whatever. Then definitely do take advantage of these offers if you like them. Like I said, beautiful potential neckline here. If you see that, that's kind of what you want to get in terms of a trade, or what I would want to get in terms of a trade. I don't know about you guys. If we take a look at some of the other coins, we've got, good support for Ethereum, a little bit lower than where we are right now. Ethereum's in a bit of a weird place right now. It's forming price action very similar to, 2021, just like Bitcoin, of course. Nothing particularly amazing on this chart in particular, but if we do take a look at some of the others, Solana is an interesting one, because I think generally speaking, a lot of these coins need to pull back, but Solana's just, said fuck you to absolutely everything that makes sense in this market. It's just continued to rally up while Bitcoin is getting destroyed, which is very interesting. But I don't necessarily think that that's going to stick around if we do see a wider crypto market correction. We're seeing all sorts of crazy meme coins on the Solana network, by the way. I don't know if you guys have been seeing it. Just like a massive resurgence of racism in the crypto markets, which, I'm not really going to comment on either way. Obviously, we know that the crypto market has, some sort of sense of humor. And it's whatever. It's not my business. I don't really care for it. And, it seems like it's all happening in good fun. So, whatever. But, the Solana network is pretty overhyped. And for all of these coins, there's a long way down to support. Solana might just end up being one of the more impressive ones because it's Solana. So, that's not something I would rule out. But, I think generally speaking, a lot of these coins now, you can really tell, right? I was saying the same thing to you when we initially came back up here. But coins like Phantom, I think they just make it so obvious what we're actually dealing with. This is very clearly a situation where these coins have managed to make it up all the way to macro areas of resistance, and now it's like, what do we do? And, this picture gets way worse if we look at other coins like Shiba. The shitter the coin gets, the worse it gets in terms of potential drops. But, Phantom, not necessarily a major shit coin, but still had a very big drop if it does end up dropping, and we'll come back to that chart in just a sec. But you can see very clearly with Shiba right here, if you lose this level, there's no support on the way down. There's not going to be anything unless Shiba, manages to fall all the way down by about half of its current price down to the 1470 level, and then there's a little bit of like, a knife catching style support down here, nothing particularly amazing. If we move it back to Phantom, we see basically the same thing, and this is my point, right? Like there's no escaping it right now, no matter which coin you're looking at, including Bitcoin. None of these coins have had a nice stable rise up. They've all moved up very quickly and very explosively, and it's, it naturally has to be the same thing if the price ends up dropping. So that's what I'm kind of raising caution about. I think for me, this market has been in a place where there's way more to be gained by being cautious than there is to be gained by being over the top Moon Boy energy. And again, that doesn't mean I've stopped making money. A lot of people, they hear what I'm talking about, and they see that I'm actually quite conservative compared to, generally what crypto traders look like in the market. And then they think that the result of that is, well, this kind of trading style doesn't make money. But it couldn't be further from the truth. If you take a look at what we're actually dealing with right here, that is a phenomenal 1900% profit on my Bitcoin position. And I'm still plus 500% on Tron as well. I can't actually angle that properly, but it's going pretty well, right? Like, you don't need to be the ridiculously stupid over-the-top moon boy trader to make a lot of money in this market. You just need to be choosing your positions carefully, and having a good feel of when you need to pull that trigger, and then committing to trades, right? Not getting out of good trades, getting yourself out of bad trades. Very, very simple principles, obviously much harder to exercise in practice. So that's, I think, a very, very important note. If you want to see how I'm doing that stuff, you can jump inside of 4Flies VIP by following these steps right here on screen. I believe these steps, actually, no, not right there. And the free 4Flies Gold Telegram channel. You get more analysis from myself and my team around the clock for free by following that link down below. So super cool stuff. All right, ladies and gents, you've got phenomenal offers. Take advantage of them if you like and if your country allows you to participate. But if you have enjoyed this one, you know exactly what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all of that good stuff. We've seen some nice price action here. I want to come back at you guys with much more content in this market. So if you have enjoyed it, definitely make sure that you are staying subscribed. It's good stuff here. I'm excited to see which way the breakout comes, whether it's up or down. There's a lot of money to be made in both directions. There's even more money to be made if we go down, because we're probably going to end up going up anyway, eventually. It's probably not even going to take too long. So if we go down, that's just more opportunities to stack more Bitcoin, right? The next time Bitcoin gets back up to 70K, if it does, nothing is guaranteed, but the next time Bitcoin gets up to 70K, I want more Bitcoin, right? If I've got 1 Bitcoin now, I want 1.5 the next time we get to 70, right? And then I'm going to be 50% richer, and then if we drop again, the next time we get to 70, I want 2 Bitcoins, right? That's the way I play this game. I want to make Bitcoin, and then I want Bitcoin to make me dollars. That's how I've been playing this game for all these years. That's what's been working very well for me. It's been working very well for members inside of the VIP group. It's been working for very well for many of you guys that have been watching for years and years. So that is all super, super cool. Like I said, guys, take advantage of what you like. Don't do it if you don't like it. All good. And I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.